Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. It's the fastest freaking show in MLB, absolutely anywhere. With your freaking boy, yo. Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide. Brooklyn, New York, as always. Coming out that damn chair, as always. Italian, Tasmanian devil out the cage. Let's fucking get it, people. Almost had the sweep yesterday, right? We were talking about this. This is why we want to be patient, do our analysis, tracking trends, being smart, playing smart, passing the combine. Gave out 5 plays yesterday on the Substack. We had fucking all of them. The one we missed was the Marlins bullpen. Man, I like Sandy for the full game because he could go deep. Apparently, 8 1/3, not deep enough. Not deep enough. It was on the bullpen report. They had lost Fairbanks. Fauché had been used. We knew what we were doing, but of course that one blew up in our face. But we're, back around even, and once we pass the combine, we are going to go live. Who am I, the girl named Sugar? Your host, Big Johnny Stud. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legeza. Same handle over on Substack, where $2 a week, get your 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. Baseball's version of 300, give the book nothing, take from that bitch everything. This isn't fucking madness.
This is Sparta!
Yeah, damn right it is. All right, let's go get this shit, man. I don't know. Support the work. There's a pod that comes out without all the dead space in it later on. And then you get all the stuffs and things. I'm going to walk you through some of the tools. They're up every single day before you are. All the advanced stats we're going to talk about. The algorithm scores, both first 5 and full game, with edge calculations on both sides. You get those implied team totals on a separate page to do your daily specials and your DFS stacking, plus SP ranks with strikeout projections. And then, of course, the best part of waking up. The world-famous pitching sheets in your mug. No one kind of doing it like us, especially when I don't have the pitching sheet up on the fucking board. Well, there she blows. What could you do, man? Sorry, baby. You're an idiot, John. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Live TV is what it is. What a setup for a fucking faceplant. Anyway, the sheets are still good. Right? I think that's the point. Definitely saving you $2 worth of time a week. That's what this is all about. I've been really touched by all the feedback. You can see it. I put it up. I try not to boast my own shit. I let people speak to me. Using the totals, hitting the all parlays, stacking their teams and getting total bases, people just tailing along and, making some money. If anything, just using it to double check your own work. Really keep it cheap for everybody. So we got a full slate today. I got to be a little bit shorter than yesterday. There's like a cap for YouTube that people see over an hour, and it's like, no thanks. So it is 15 games, but it's really chopped up. We're going to go in reverse order as always. Okay, so we always start with the nighttime slate, so anybody picking up the show at any time of the day can listen along, and then we're going to work our way backwards. It was a CeeLo slate, right? We got a 4, 5, 6. So we got 4 at night, 5 in the afternoon, and then 6 kind of early, right? Early 1 and 2, mid 3 and 4, late 6:30 and after. Our guy AM41120 up in the chat already. Only one game, moved on, close on a lot of others. Detroit Min 08. We're going to get to all of that in just a second. Need some John reinforcement on the games to get there. Yeah, listen, that's kind of why I encourage the back and forth, right? You're sharpening me as I sharpen you, hopefully. Iron sharpening iron. Though I had a couple of hits yesterday. I'm looking kind of smart yesterday, right? The Sandy stuff was money. The Taj Bradley stuff was money. And again, it's just trying to lay the groundwork for trajectory. All right, let's fucking do the thing we do. Me and you, the Corked Stats crew. Colin Rea on the bump for the Baby Bears, making a 2026 debut, -110. Slight fave on the road against the flat fucking fish of Florida and Joey Boyle. Again, I'm trying to be quicker, so I don't want to bury the lead when I think I have my play right off the bat. Again, remember, though I do, right, I design and grade and smooth the algorithm, I oftentimes the analogy is like a paper plane or like a car or like a self-driving car. I built it and fucking sent it on a mission. I don't like tell it what to do. I don't fill it in. We have adjustments and all types of weighted formulas and stretch calculations depending on odds. It's very complex. But I had a feeling, right? Like I said, I know what I like. I know what board's like. You got to give me Joey B. At home, I've got the model scores. I think we have the pitching edge here also. Now, again, I was talking about going fast, but I do like to spend the most time on the nighttime stuff because it's the stuff that gets listened to the most. Joey Boyle, we see a little bit of a reclamation. Again, just for any newbies, the stats you see are 2025 to 2026. It is labeled as such. But if you're looking for just 2026, go all the way to the end. I have surface stuff. Boyle's been good. 318 sub 1 whip, 22 KBB. The thing for Boyle has always been the walks, right? So if Tampa, this is actually interesting because we've seen them do this before. When we say like Tampa cleaned up the control, what they did with a guy like Tyler Glasnow was just tell him to aim for the middle. Hit the one in the middle, Rock. You know what I'm saying? Hit the one in the middle. They said your stuff is so filthy. And you're not, and guess what? You don't have great command. So aim for the middle and it's going to touch a corner, and it leveled him up. Maybe you're seeing the same thing with Joe Boyle. Guys that don't have good command and control, trying to be too cute to the corner, missing and walking the fucking world. Whereas if you just tell him to hit the middle, he can't hit the middle. He doesn't know how to hit the middle. That's kind of the point. So if he goes through the middle, it ends up on the outside. And I know it sounds really stupid, but it's the fucking truth. Man, I didn't have him on this year. I big time myself because Pitching Ninja Rob Friedman, who's the man, always made time for me. And man, I really should have got him back on. He had Glasnow on. He's a legit, piece of the industry now, beloved by players because of his style. One of the reasons he and I have hooked up because I think we have some overlap in the Venn diagram, kind of self-made, a little bit weird, doing our own thing, but people dig us. So Friedman had Glasnow on, and he told the story, right? I'm just repeating it. And Boyle's really never shown this level of command and control. Just a 6.5 walk, and then you get all the rest of the boost because he's always been really good. So I think Boyle is also on the list of guys that we've seen kind of a correction from, where you could believe what you're seeing because the arm talent was always there. From a diagnostic standpoint, they're throttling the four-seamer. So now the slider is the lead pitch, matching the four-seamer with the split, boosting up that sweeper that he developed. He didn't really throw it last year. Now you're seeing it, and it looks really good. So you're going to have to give me Joey Boyle for sure. We could take a quick look at the offensive stuff also. Right now, listen, the Cubs, I just call them the Bears now. Better approach, better power. It's funny how I would think better offense, but they have a worse WRC plus. Again, it's a smallish kind of sample. We're getting to 435 plate appearances for the Rays. But again, they've kind of hit for average. It's funny, the homer and the power, both to the Cubbies. Rays scoring a few more runs. It's got to be a kind of average based, and they're not striking out. Maybe that's in there too. I don't know WRC plus. I know. Okay, it's a good shorthand. I try not to overuse it because of this. Like I'd rather have an understanding of stylistics and approach, contact, and things than some like macro output stat that maybe comes off as a little like nebulous or vague, right? I mean, if it's proprietary, you didn't build it, we don't necessarily know what makes it go. So I'll take my stuff and kind of reverse engineer. And when I see that, I don't know if I'm like sold. But I mean, well, again, I guess it's yet to be seen. Let me just kind of tweet that we're live. This would be the job of the producer that I don't have. All right, so we're back back in the saddle. Yeah, I'm not seeing enough from the Cubs. Now, this will be a good challenge because they don't strike out a lot. They're going to be forcing Boyle to throw strikes. I think he will oblige. Not like I dislike Rhea. I feel like it's more of an inning-eating pitch to contact type of thing. Ball's going to be in play, and I think, I think we're going to have a puncher's chance here with the pitching edge. Now, I don't like the Rays' pen. They've been awful, kind of looking for a solution. I managed to get my F5 page up before I launched. Half of a professional move from yours truly. So that F5 is minus 112. Tampa I'm referring to. So that's where I'm going. Give me Tampa F5 ML minus 112. And we'll move it on again with the promise to try and be a little bit faster. It's Brady Wedding Singer on the bump for the Reds. You motherfuckers blew up my perfect slate yesterday. 113 dog against Yuri Perez minus 135. Again, another one where you're just like, huh? Do we even need to look at the algo? Okay, so here's the thing. If you look at Yuri Perez's name on the board, you see a frying pan emoji, right? Those are your cooked bullpens. How very clever of me. Yeah, I'm trying my best. But what I am good at is using keys, right? So if you see the emoji next to Perez, then you know you can go to the cooked pen tab right at the bottom, right? Where you match. You see that little symbol. And then if you go there, I have all the pens listed. Fauché, 3 of 4, 67. I think he's unavailable. Anthony Bender, 3 of 4, 67 also. I think he's going to be unavailable. Cannot back the Marlins, right? This is where, again, people that follow my work, to them, I guess it's like, duh. And I guess it's a little bit intuitive on its face. But this is how you forecast teams collapsing. Even with, very good pitching. Because the bullpens are bad. They put themselves in bad utilization spots, fail, and then it cascades, right? So the Marlins kind of went for their A guys, right? The best of the bad bunch. Where maybe they shouldn't have to try and close something out. It burned them, and now you're effed in the A. Because you can't use them. So if you want Yuri, I think you got to go early. Surprising enough, this has been very unusual. I don't know if it's necessarily something that's going to stick or something that's changed. But now this is something we've noticed again where a team like the Marlins, right? Yuri Perez, very good pitcher. Marlins, bad bullpen, meh offense. The full game and F5 price have been the same, where normally you get a, starter juice, right? Like it's a VIG on the favorite first 5 because, hold on, we gotta big nose this. I see a couple of comments piling up. We're going to get this in a second. Oh, which is, you want to laugh? Me trying not to forget something reminded me of the thing I forgot yesterday when I was like, oh, I'm smart, right? And then I looked like a fucking fat idiot. That was very funny. By the way, you got to take your L's for love. It was that I know I was smart enough to bet F5s because they can remove variables, and removing variables is, something. Okay, so now to the Yuri stuff. I mean, it's only because that I dropped this. Hold on, you know what? They're starting to pile. I want to get the comments. I promise people, and I can always do Instagram slop later. AM says he agrees. Not high on the Tampa line. They match up well versus Rayo, leaning Tampa F5. Yo, my guy, me and you are just like simpatico. I'll tell you, love, again, sharp people, recognizing game, ping-ponging back and forth. Let me drop the Tampa thing I have up. I'm going to I'm going to post that. I'm going to be betting that. Adam's Digest says, good morning, good sir. Of course. Yo, man, you're the man. Also, Jason J. Bird, up in the piece, 924. You follow the Jason, Jaysun. And Adam's Digest, I think that's the handle on Twitter also. Make sure you're following all the people. Brian Elfring is up in there. What's up, Nino? You guys are freaking awesome. Appreciate all of you guys for, supporting the show and all the work and all that good stuff. So, yeah, regardless, again, we can deal with the tangents later. It really is a little bit unusual to be missing, that juice on F5s. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Something we've been speaking about this season already. Of course, we're always very hyper-focused on pricing and how that affects our betting execution, of course. What I've noticed this year already a few times is books are posting, lines with favorites, which is the norm, with a clear pitching edge, obviously the norm. However, generally there's like an extra tax called a VIG on the F5 for a favorite. This is generally understood, and I had always equated it to the few percentage points on a push. So for anybody that's unfamiliar, you don't only have to bet on winners and losers. I like to bet on first five. In a case like the Marlins today, where we have a clear pitching edge, minus 135 full game, the Marlins bullpen, not only trash, they're also taxed, right? Both of the top two arms, both went 3 of 4. Fairbanks is out. The F5 price would generally be at least 20 or 25 cents heavier on that minus 135. So I assumed I would see a minus 160, but I didn't. And it's a C minus 135. You're crazy to not bet these pitching edges on the F5. Number one, there are those few percentage points of a tie where you push. And now think of that to its logical conclusion. If you pay a tax on a favorite, you're expecting them to win. I would imagine your bet is at least somewhat predicated on starting pitching. If your favorite that you paid a freaking premium on is tied after 5, would you pay a premium for them to win that game? Obviously not. Anyone paying any kind of tax on a baseball money line is expecting the team to be winning after 5. So to me, you need to be checking the prices in these fragile situations, right? The Marlins suck. If it's a good team with a good offense and a good bullpen, that's a different story. These are very particular for these bad teams. So make sure you're doing the math. Make sure you're doing the work. Truffle Pig kind of finds the value. It's just life in a big city. All right, so that was the AM slop edition of the fucking show. Underwater Trades up in there. GM, good morning. Really, I really can't express how much I appreciate people that taking their time to just say something nice. Like, feel free to use me. Use me and abuse me for, opinions and thoughts and stuff. Give me, what plays do you like? What are you on? What are you leaning? And stuff. And we can hammer it back and forth. But to just be like, good morning and you're the man, really is very touching because I very much appreciate time. It's why I promote the Substack saving you time because that's what life's kind of all about. So, yeah, give me Tampa F5 and give me the Miami F5. For all the reasons I mentioned before, I'm just a little surprised that there's no associated tax. If it was minus 165, I probably wouldn't be taking the F5 on its own. And I'd be in the mental struggle. Do we want to back this terrible team? What are we going to do? It kind of sucks. So I'm jumping on that bitch. Next up. See, this is the time. I got to be going at a good speed. Luis Severino going for the Atleticos. Elephants balancing on beach balls on the road in the boogie down. They face Willie Warren and the New York Yankees. Bad guys put us in fucking sweats yesterday. We were looking for that 5 runs, and Savali was walking massive batters. I only had a half eyeball on it. I was kind of box score tracking, and Yankees got it done at the end. I really felt confident. Again, part of the calculus Savali, I was a little bit worried about command control, which translates into depth. And then the bullpen, right? You gotta be willing to feast, on these. AM says I don't bet sides, but F5 ATH looks nice. Warren more vulnerable than Severino. Interesting to not bet sides. Is there a reason why you don't bet sides? Is it because of the double variables? Like I guess I'm not criticizing. I'm genuinely curious. The reason I say that is I've had those kind of, not say hard and fast rules, but rules. And I don't know. I if you can find an edge in a market and the math checks out, I think you should go for it, right? I don't think you should ever find yourself, and I'm not saying you're doing this here, right? We're just speaking kind of generally. Is if you see a bet, and you're like, wow, that's a good value, you should bet it. Like, you know what I mean? You should. Well, I don't do that, right? It's not dangerous, and as long as it's not irresponsible, right? You should never be over leveraging yourself under any circumstances. But if a bet passes the fucking the shocker testing, you got to go for it, bro. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. All right, so I could buy that against Severino. Very much a victim to the ballpark that he was pitching in. Now, Yankee Stadium is a good place to hit. It's not Sacramento's AAA park, right? So the split stuff, if I'm not mistaken, was just murderous last year for Sev. And I don't know if he got it this year. It's a little small for this year. Now he only pitched on the road and he got destroyed. It's only 8 innings, so I don't want to overreact. I think I'm with AM in that. I think Sev probably more set up for a bounce back, if anything. But here's the home and away stuff last year. 3.02 ERA, 2.22 batting average against, 2.77 WOBA, and a 107 whip. That was Severino on the road. That's a pretty good pitcher, right? Those are kind of winning numbers. And then you look at the road stuff, and it's freaking out of control. Though, it's the same pitcher, same amount of batters faced, give or take. He had 2 more innings at home, so it's a very comparative sample. ERA is north of 6. The batting average jumps to 288. The WOBA jumps to 345. And the whip jumps to 1.5. I mean, this is just a completely different pitcher. We got You Damn Thief. Love the work, John. Glad to see you over on YouTube. Way easier to listen to live at work. Yes, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate that. It's funny. Just think about it. That's what it's about. I do this to myself all the time. I'm very regimented. I'm overly routine. You kind of have to be when you do this sort of work. And I get scared of change, and Twitter can suck a ball. They don't do anything for you. And it's a tough video platform. This is significantly better place. And we've already experienced some growth. People get to comment in real time. You could either comment during the show or go after. You can actually press like and support me for free. Where like, if you're watching the show on X and you're like, wow, this is fucking great. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything. Likes even, they don't do anything. So, Underwater Trades, the shocker test, baby. Yo, man, you know how we do. Oh, baby, 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink, man. You only live once. Oh, baby. All right, so, again, I think we should be... we should be thinking about Severino, right, as 2 different guys, right? Even though he's had a rough go, right? What is he at? 6.5 ERA, 1.8 whip, not any good. I do think he's going to pound the zone. Now, Warren is also a bit of like an inning eater, so I don't know if I'm going to get there. Let's go. I should have worked backwards on this one. Okay. I've got Yankees, modeled for a win. It's hard not to. I mean, obviously they're a minus 195 favorite. Most responsible models will probably have them as the winner. The issue here, if you're looking up at the board, is the offensive approach for the A's has just been awful. And I feel like when Warren can get any kind of strikeouts, that's when he succeeds. AM says the Athletics F5 +5 run is -110. That is tasty. My bookie has +100. So let me just take 1 second to promote my bookie. Hit me up for a referral. They don't pay me. Maybe they should. But we both get like 3-roll cash. There's one reason to not, to definitely choose them over American books. But also the pricing is better, right? So right there, perfect example. -110 is the listed, US book price. And I've got a live +100, which I totally like. My issue with it, right? My issue with the price is that they're charging you an arm and a leg for that. And part of it is part of that premium I was mentioning off the starter. But I'm seeing -219 on the money line is crazy to. Man, to only have that +100. That run is really, really expensive. I've got +160 on the F5 money line. Although I would be honest, especially with the even money, if you could snag the even money at my bookie, I love those plays. I really do. And that was the original edge that I had developed in MLB betting years ago when I was on the ground floor for the FTN launch. I was, leading the MLB betting side for them. And that was it. No one was really betting F5s. Very few people had forward-facing models. And the run line, the F5 run line was everything, right? Because that was the missing calculation. They weren't adjusting those numbers that I mentioned, the starter tax. I don't know if I could quite get there. Again, that I generally had made a rule. If you look up at the board, you could see the algo, right? I have the Yankees at 2-6 through 5. So the reason I'm going to fade that is because of my own rule. I generally don't look for it. If the team is over 2.5, the opposition, it's just too much scoring. The A's are striking out entirely too much. That bet is viable, though. I want to be clear before we move on. Last but not least, on the nighttime slate, Detroit Tigres, Framber Valdez on the bump, leaving Detroit Rock City. By the way, if you see, it should be self-explanatory. But that's a tornado and an arrow out, and then there are tornadoes with the arrow in. I made a wind adjustment out. I had a crazy wind reading in Detroit. Now, I didn't kind of go bananas or anything, but it had to be significant. Yeah, I had 13 miles an hour out to left center. So I think you got to get a boost for righty pull stuff. And when you're facing Bailey Ober, who's like a home run guy, I like Detroit to kind of kill. I've always been a big Framber guy. I came off him for fantasy because I was worried about the defense. Framber seems to have turned on the strikeouts when he wants. He can get whiffs, and the defense has not failed him yet. He's been incredible. And, I think that probably continues. Twins offense, you could see they've been bad. 211 team batting average, 27K, 12.5 swing strike. They're too passive. They're losing in the zone, not hitting the ball hard. We can look at the lefty splits. It's been really rough also, the lefty stuff. They have a 545 team OPS versus lefties, an 048 ISO, 27K. It's pretty much a disaster for the Twins right now. And that's probably indicative of, I guess the lefties, right? Wallner is a waste against lefty pitching where he's the power bat. Now, you always like Buxton versus lefties, but Heaskell's been a little slow. You know what? I never ever show off the team hitter data. We do have a little bit. AM says all roads lead to Rome. Dude, this is fucking awesome. Are we best friends? Should we go do karate in the basement? That's good stuff, my man. Really, 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 really good stuff. Really good stuff. Good enough it sidetracked me, in fact. But that was again. Oh, I wanted to look at the hitter sheet, right? So for the first time, I'm actually doing individual hitter data, and I want to thank the people that gave me the nudge. Just asking, could we template something even if it's not overly complicated, like I haven't been able to automate splits yet because the plate appearance numbers get thrown off, and I haven't been able to sync it. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't have it right now. But regardless, again, I never want to misframe what I'm providing. We do have all the niceness, right? We have all of our bins and our disciplinary stuff, and everything is sorted by plate appearance by team. You could sort these on your own. Control F works. You know what I have going to do? I'm going to add right now for everybody is a filter on the team category. Sorry, I should have had that ready, and that's how this thing improves, right? So now you can filter by team, and it just makes it a little bit easier. I like to Control F, or you could just kind of page down and stuff. You know, there's a couple ways to skin this cat without scratching his asshole. Let's take a look at the Minnesota bats and the disciplinary basket in particular to see like what's going on under the hood here with these guys. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's gross, like as you'd imagine. Matt Walder has a 48% K rate, Josh Bell 30, Buxton 26, Royce Lewis 30, Jeffers 28, Brooks Lee 25, Clemens 38. I mean, it's pretty atrocious, right? James Outman 54. They don't really have an answer for the K stuff. And I think if Framber's in the back pocket for the off-speed stuff, he's going to be able to get that. Hold on, Mark, I see you. Let's just wrap up this one. I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. So, yeah, I think I'm with the algo here. I kind of have utter destruction. Also, Minnesota has the frying pan emoji. Okay, Cole Sands, 2 of 3. Taylor Rogers, 3 of 4. Justin Tope, 2 of 3. Eric Orrs back-to-back. Now, the pitch counts outside, I think Rogers is unavailable, right? The one pitcher I think is unavailable is Rogers, but putting that load on everybody else, and then when you start to calculate for an increased risk of sucking, right? Once you're at that 3 or 4, 4 or 5, the up and down and stuff, even if the pitch counts are low, whether it's teams seeing the guy multiple times, kind of getting a little bit of a beat on him, or just spinning the roulette wheel enough times that good, eventually you're going to fucking suck. So I got all the Detroit stuff. I might be even into the cover. I think we get the cover. You know, we're getting the 9 frames out of the Detroit offense. We're getting the bullpen edge. I think we have the clear pitching edge. So you get Detroit run line. I'm seeing like plus 115s kind of hanging out there. So put me down for that shit. My guy Mark S is up into the comments. What's going on, mi gente? Appreciate you for all the support. You know, people actually, I was mentioning it before, and kind of you, about people taking the time to, you know, just say nice stuff. It sounds cheesy, but this is your time. You could just be trying to fucking milk me, and, you know, just whatever. The feedback's been awesome. Mark says, did I miss the MIA breakdown? I think the answer is yes. Hold on. I'm leaning F5. That's what we love. The BP bullpen scares me after today. Yes, exactly. And I feel like once Cinch gets to the BP, they might find life again. Yes, that's what I said. Problem is, I like to see the F5. This is fucking cool. Okay, so take a bow. First things first. Right? Super fucking sharp. Earn the fucking boot. I actually went into AI big nose slop mode to talk about this. I like that sign because I'm a cheap bastard. Now you're gonna have, if you're hanging around, if not, maybe we can get this as a thought. You could drop it after the show. Is why? Okay, so problem is I like to see the F5 a bit taxed. So, dude, you know I already have instant love for you, but is this one of those like that line is kind of fishy thing? I mean, for me, the book. I don't adjust to book price. I'm trying to beat book price. Yeah, Bride Rose says, this guy is one of us.
This is Sparta!
Damn right he is. He fucking belongs, yo. And you know what? You can tell the people that stick are gonna, the people that like kind of gravitate are going to stick for life, right? There's nothing like this. No one is doing this. You can watch MLB Network all fucking day for the rest of your life, and you will not even get 5 minutes that are even close to this style, of analysis. We're doing granular and execution. We talk risk management and how to apply it, where to back off, how importance of splits, and plus diagnostics and fucking pitch shape. And fucking man, how the fuck is the people in Bristol should be fucking ashamed of themselves, Millions of dollars of production value, tons of fucking morons. I mean, they've got more fucking morons than you know what to do with. Makeup hires, meathead guys, airhead chicks, just not knowing shit about anything. And then like Brian Kenny out there trying to fucking carry the load or whatever. It's a disgrace over there. What a fucking disgrace. They should be ashamed of themselves. They really should. I could rant on that forever. Okay, I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do and freak out. So back to Mark's thing. And again, I don't adjust models to pricing. I'm trying to beat price. So if price is good, we like low price. Now, if you're like, but why? Now, we always want to be questioning. I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't really care. Yeah, John went over it. Thanks for, you guys, I appreciate it. You guys kind of like interacting with each other and stuff. And again, YouTube loves that shit. Markets with the response. I like to see books showing respect to the starter, but in this case, it could just be a bias to the last game. Miami BP is better, but it scares me. Yeah, I honestly, I don't really understand the price. Yuri is also efficient. He's going those 5 innings. Like, there should be a 10-cent tax to avoid the bullpen and get exposed to the push. So, listen, I'm going to take it. All right, so that's all the nighttime stuff. Quick recap. We got Tampa on the F5 at a price that we like. We got Miami on the F5, which again I think is a fair price. A's and Yanks, I think I'm off. I'm a little bit worried. I'll be honest. If anything is jumping, is that at 8.5? I mean, no, it isn't. It's an 8. So just back up the truck a little bit. I think we want exposure to that if that number is dropping to 8. I'm not necessarily trusting Warren here. He's not a big strikeout guy, and that's the bugaboo for the A's. I flip back to the pitching sheet. You can see Warren's not like a big... I mentioned he's not a big chase guy. He's not a big swing strike guy. If he gets the strikeouts, though, that's kind of the leg up, but that's not really the wheelhouse. No. 8.5, I didn't really want to push for the 9th run, but if you're going to get me out of here with 8 and a tie, 4 extra innings and a win, no, you're gonna have to give me that. So that's A's, Yanks, FG 08. I see a minus 114. Again, I'm not like super shopping right now. All the plays obviously should go without saying. You want to get the best price available because that stuff matters. Which is why, again, I expect more people to hit me up for these MyBookie links. Just if you're betting F5, they're beating the market by 10, 12, 15 cents on a lot of shit. And if you do alt ladder stuff, I haven't really done a lot of ladder stuff. They destroy the fucking pricing on DK and FanDuel. Bet365 is the king. I'm very fair. Got to be honest. I don't have access to it. It's hard for me to post stuff I can't bring up and play. So yeah, make sure you're getting best price. Like that shit is very important. Will says, LOL John, great take on the MLB media. Yeah, dude, like I know how much work this takes. I put in the work to learn, to teach, to try and further my own understanding as we're all kind of learning together. I get like I'm like the professor of this fucking wacky class of ours. But we're all equals here, right? We're all grown fucking adults. We're men and women, right, of character, of high character. Obviously, if you're rolling with us. But it's embarrassing. Like, they don't care. I have spent my life around people that have just said, did the check cash? That's what you get there. These people may have deserved the job, then they turn off the thirst, right? Rocky 3 style, as if like I could be any more guinea making Rocky fucking analogies, but it's true, right? Rocky 2, right? Rocky 2. You win the fucking belt and you turn it off. You're paper champ. You're not really concerned anymore. While some idiot like me, Clubber Lang, is poor and fucking training in the fucking basement, eating fucking raw animals. You know what I'm saying? Jason says, A's and Yanks. Yanks mile $4.99. DK has Yanks 1,700. Wow, that's nice. 2 at the top of Stros and Rockies. Okay, Jason, now that I got you and I know you're here, this is the thing that I want to get with you about. Okay, so if we can isolate just these highest score teams, I'll fucking pick that up, right? And you track, because this is work you're kind of doing for me. We could work that deal, right? Where I don't take on all this whatever craziness you're up to. But I'll do this. So make sure to hit me up just to remind me. I already thought about the idea. So what he's referring to, people, let me just shrink this, is, yeah, you get the algo scores, of course, but rather than having to do like that on your own, I mentioned the implied team total board, right? So now if you're looking at the screen, you're seeing that. So when you do the daily special, DK daily special, I find Google has a split screen feature. Split the screen, because this is only a half screen anyway. And like, oh man, you could totally see who's out of order and what pricing is good and what's strong and what's weak. So that's a winner right there. But also it's pretty helpful for DraftKings, I think. Like if you're doing fan DFS, like this is the stack. And then you're looking for the cheapest pieces, right? That's always kind of huge. Yeah, no. Jay, I appreciate you, man. You've been a huge supporter of my work. I love to kind of pay stuff forward, and I think everybody wins. All right, we could have a mutual beneficial thing where you're putting a little bit of work, but you're getting compensated for it. But you're also going to help me promote, right? You're one of us. I'm not, I never want shit to be transactional. Like I get people are going to use me for Substack, like that. I get. We don't need to be friends, but if we are dealing together, like it needs to be more than that. Mark says Miami DR is plus 170. What's DR? Am I an idiot? What the hell is DR? Miami DR is plus 170. Maybe add something on top of the F5 bet as well. Well, if that was a typo, or I'm just very slow the last couple of days. All right, let's build a afternoon parlay. So I'm just we'll tone down some of the more thorough analysis and let's just fly through it, because I really have to wrap up this show. Again, I want the focus to be on the PM stuff, because the daytime stuff comes and goes. No one is really interested in it. So let me just get an idea of the actual games just a second. I want to, this is like let's call it 3 p.m. and after. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So, all right, got it. Unfortunately, there isn't like an official listing. Oh, double result, Miami. Double result. Interesting. If anyone is unfamiliar, double result is you can bet F5 and full game. You could combine them, which also, is one way to circumvent big juice sometimes on a heavy favorite. Like, let's say you love the Yankees. You don't want to pay minus 195. Some people will do the double result. You get a good price, but they have to be winning after 5. They have to be winning after 9. Last thing on double result is the push is a loss. Right, so the rule, or I guess I should always speak for where I've played, because house rules can be different. Generally, right, house rule is it's a run line. So if let's say you're doing your calculations, make sure you add the first 5 run line covering the run with the ML, right? You don't need to cover, you just have to win. You can also flip that. And that's what Mark was talking about. When I had a producer, we used to hit these. I just forget which ones. You bet the Miami F5, right? We think they're going to be ahead, and then you bet the Cincinnati to win. So because they're kind of not correlated, right? They're against each other. You get a nice payout. So to get 170, I was actually hoping to be able. I think those should be priced a little bit better. But again, the situation is perfectly set up for it, right? We didn't invent that. We didn't invent the thinking. All right, let's get back to the board. We got 6 games. Maybe we just put together like something. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers, heavy favorite on the road against Dylan Cease. I'm going to try my best to just leave the algo board up. It has all 6 of these games up, so everyone can kind of look and try and digest. And again, if you aren't subscribed, think about it, man. We're saving people tons of time, decent community, lots of great info, access to me, and the show may eventually get paywalled. Just saying. Man, very hard to bet against the Dodgers, especially against Cease, who I like, though, like, gives up home runs. Jay's really struggling for me. But to get to this price ain't it. I have this like close, kind of even. Like I have the Dodgers winning, but entirely too close. So I think right now I'm passing. I'm right on the total where I'm not really comfortable. If that Toronto score was a little bit lower, I guess we could go under 7.5. Maybe you pay up to go under the 8, but I'm not really digging it. Not say like I got a bad feeling on this, but Cease is good. We got to be careful paying premiums to go up against really good pitchers. And like Ohtani's goated, there's no question. But Cease has been money, and though Toronto might not be hitting right now, I still think they're really good. So nothing wrong with fading stuff. Again, Houston, Colorado yesterday. Oh, Jason, I know I was suffering with you, brother. No run scored. I think what I'm about to say is probably stupid and not in line with a lot of the other really good work I do. But, you just bet the over after the under. You bet the over post under in Colorado. Right? Did they fall flat? So, like, or especially the opposing team. Now, I'd imagine, right, I probably have Houston modeled as the highest scoring team, which means they're probably 5.5 team total. I don't know for sure. I have to look because this could be a juiced 4.5 that we really like. It also could be like an even money 5.5. I look like a jerk. It's an even money 6.5. Probably no thanks. What is the damn total on this game? Hachi, Machi, Liberace. What the fudge, man? I don't generally go to like 11s and 12s. I don't usually do that. It's not like it doesn't happen, but it's happening today. It's happening today. The total's 11.5. It's happening today. Javier and Lorenzen in a battle of the freaking gas can. So, it's over or nothing when you're playing in cores. I like to look for upsets also. When the Rockies are a really heavy dog, that's not the case today. Though I think they have a chance to win this one. I want to say I know. I hate to say I know because none of us know. But this is bad chalk. Paying minus 165 for this version of Christian Javier in cores is bad. That's a bad thing. Don't do bad. No, bad. Bad better. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not good. So I think this one you're like, you're playing Colorado run line. What about their, team totals also was a thing that, DraftKings used to have a team total page. One page with all the team totals. What happens? They stop providing the options so readily available because they know it holds us up. Like, that's a known fucking thing. Rockies are 4.5 minus 125. I mentioned that because I'm not sure where I have them modeled. I'm bringing that up right now. I have them second. Just by the numbers, you gotta like that play. So if I'm pairing anything during the day so far, I guess that's my play. I'm gonna mark it because I just really didn't love the other ones. Like I hate being like, I guess the Dodgers win. You're paying a massive juice for that shit. But this one, you could sell me on, Colorado getting to 5 runs minus 130. Next up, Aaron Nola versus Tyler Mahle. Philly minus 135 to the plus 113 for the Gigantes. I'm kind of leaning under here, and I'm curious to see if that F5 is a 4.5. Again, when I can go under games F5, I prefer to avoid the Ghost Runner. Also, it just feels intuitive to me. If you're under, it's based on starting pitching, right? Like, if you're... you shouldn't be betting it under where you think the pitchers are surrendering runs, right? So why? And then with the, I know I'm obsessed with the Ghost Runner. I know, but I hate it. It sucks. It's stupid, and it's very hard to quantify. You know, it was totally different always with extra innings, regular innings. How do you quantify a guy? A guy could score with a fucking without getting a hit, and then the home team could score without getting a hit, and then they trading off in match play, and it's like, whatever. It's so stupid. Like, imagine if all of baseball had that rule. Like, what would the scores look like? The scores would be in the fucking 20s. Like, legit, right? Would they be in the 20s? Scores would be in the 20s. Because you'd be assuming a run for every half inning, right? If a runner can score without a hit, you'd have to assume close to a run per half inning. You'd be projecting close to 2 full runs per full frame. And that's before, like, bad pitching gets involved. So, right now, and a single... Well, I guess I could say, yeah, whatever. I don't know. It's just crazy. It just screws up all the percentages are shot when you're doing that. So I'm under. That number was 4.5, and all right, it's gonna move. So we gotta be not say a little careful, but you may want to be a little quick on this one. Again, just quick lesson in all the, the things, the stuffs and things that we talk about. That nuance and context point at your fucking nose holes, when you roll with us. You gotta learn, right? So it's very important to read the tape whenever you're trading or betting. And sports books can't help but give you their information, right? They want your money, so they have to take a stand. Since totals, runs are scored in whole numbers, they only move totals by half numbers. Since that move, like an actual line move of the total, throws off everybody's action, first, they'll dial the price. So it's like inching towards the edge before they take the leap. Once you see a U 4.5 start to creep towards minus 120, minus 125, to me, that's the border. They don't really get to minus 130. They just shift the baseline. Meaning, we're under. We see a 4.5 that's juiced. You should assume that's most likely, especially because we're on the under, right? We are not only brilliant and market makers, we're really fucking good at what we do. That number is going to close U4. Now, you'll still be able to get a 4.5. It's going to be more expensive, right? Meaning, when they make it the all total, then you'll see it at minus 135, minus 140, minus 138, or whatever, because they want that extra cash from you. So just keep an eye on the tape as a leading indicator of price movements. That's like a good trading tip, yeah. Yeah, so I like that under while it's out there. I like Nola. I like Molly. Phillies offense, is a little bit worrisome, but such is life in the big city. I think Molly gets his 15 outs. Michael McGreevy and the Cards, minus 125 on the road against Miles Michaelis. So this one's bordering. So I think St. Louis should smash. The model is telling me to pump the brakes and is more leaning towards an over here. Right, since the slight favorite is on the road, we're assuming the ninth frame. Michaelis is a gas can. The Washington bullpen kind of stinks. Just curious of the line here. 4.5 F5 minus 116. So that's like, it's leaning, but that's not a price move. That's still considered the middle. Even money and minus 122. Those are minus 125. Those are your edge, right? Those are your edge points before, right, the indicator of the actual move. Damn it, here I am flipping around and having trouble with these live lines again, man. Shit. Son of a bitch. Freaking DK is crashing out of me right now. Won't bring up MLB lines. Come on, what the fuck, yo? I swear, these websites, I don't know if it's me, they just I am constantly getting freaking punished here. All right, let me see. I got to find this full game line. I'm compulsive. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Okay. Cardinals, here it is. Cardinals, Nats. So I got 8.5 minus 105, which means like maybe we can get a decent 08. That's where I was leaning. I guess I was burying my own lead, but I'm fucking dying here. I'm dying here. I can't bring up nothing. Usually, click. I pay for the best internet, the world's fastest internet here in NYC. Oh, so I have to just take the fucking L on this. And I'm going to assume that we could get like a fair juice price because that's what I want. Is I want the 08. So especially if we're pairing and stuff, you could get me to the minus 128, minus 125, but that's what I want. I want the St. Louis, Washington, FG08. I'm a little worried about McGreevy. I kind of like the Nats offense. I know James Wood and C.J. Abrams were ringing on my hit model today. AM says, I really wanted this over. Okay, so this is kind of what we're talking about. I really wanted this over, but Michael's revenge spot. Oh, interesting. And line moving towards the under, staying away. Yeah, there's that tape reading. That's what I'm reading the market. I tend to be stubborn and fade the market because it's not NFL. I don't. Now, let me get this down. I don't want anyone to think that I don't think CLV is stupid, right? Wisdom of the crowd matters. I just think it matters more on a Saturday and Sunday of NFL than like a morning in the beginning of fucking April. AM says, "Oh, the STL bats good? Good enough." I was trashing them because they needed a lot of steps forward, and of course they got it. Devil Magic in St. Louis. Mark says, "Great point." No, of course, man. That's what we do. Adam says, taking the Mikolas over 16.5 outs at even money. He's a shade over. He's got the inning eating. Washington's bullpen is worse, so he thinks right. Again, that's another way to use the bullpen stuff. When they're taxed, you have managers allowing, the old dogs like Michaelis to go farther. Mark says, move to Ohio. You save a lot of money. I'll tell you what, now that I can do my work from a fucking computer, jeez, I probably would. I could sell my little shit 3-bedroom, house here in Brooklyn and probably get a fucking, not to put down anyone else's place. It's just, right, it's notorious. The real estate is crazy here. Everything is so expensive. It's just mind-blowing. Anyway. Yeah, I'm into the 08. I'm not going to look for the 9. So you go under the 8.5 hit. I'll go. Wait, no, we don't want that. Forget it. You fade, and I'll hit. And then I'll talk shit tomorrow. How's that? Deal? All right. Next up, Grant Holmes on the bump for the Braves. Minus 130 against Reed Detmers and LA. Model X LA for the straight out win, to be honest. Braves also have the emoji, so I have it kind of close, leaning to the under F5, but I have LA kind of winning the day. I wonder if this one I'm torn because the two plays, so I don't know if I have the guts to go for the LA win because I like the under here. I do like Holmes, and I'm not crazy about the LA offense. What's his face play? Oh, yeah, I saw Trout play. I was watching. I got MLB.TV, and it's just the fucking best, man. It's the best. After everyone goes to sleep, I got my oh man, it is the best. It's like a little slow if you're trying to flip from game to game. It's not as fast as I was if you have the legit cable package, right? I'm streaming. There's also that extra inning or big inning thing. It's pretty fucking cool. I think I would be the man at calling that shit. All right, so we got to move on. I'm torn between Angels run line. I wanted to get that price. How expensive is the plus 1.5 at home? Because I really like that. It's minus 160 is a little expensive, or I like the F5 under if that one is also 4.5 because I'm modeled pretty comfortably for both of those. It is, and it's minus 105. Geez, you might be able to get a U5. So I'm going to put the under because, again, I like Holmes. And it's not like I'm crazy about the LA bullpen. Romano's been kind of a cool story or whatever. But remember, he tried his best to blow that last save. And Adele, that was a third home run that Adele robbed that same game. And it went over the fucking fence with the damn thing. So, Yeah, I'm going to go under. Little daytime. A couple daytimes under, but we're over in Washington. I always have a little bit of balance. All right, last for the afternoon parlay, and then I'm going to, like, literally flip a coin for the fucking morning stuff. Ryan Nelson on the bump for the Diamondbacks. Slight dog on the road against David Peterson and the Let's Go Mets Go. Wind blowing out. Model likes the 0-8. I also like Arizona to win. I like Arizona F5 also. I'd be curious what the F5 run line is for the Diamondbacks. I'm seeing minus 130. That's probably the play that I like. Arizona F5 run line. You know, I think the offense is good enough. I really hate going against the Mets. I think when I back the Mets, they're terrible, and when I fade them, they're one of the teams that, like, I don't know, there's no proof to this. It's just, it feels like anecdotally like they're always kind of killing me. All right, let's blow through the morning stuff. Again, thank you, everybody. Press like and shit. Subscribe to the channel. You can put on notifications, I guess, or whatever. The time of the show is not set in stone yet. I'd like to be very honest. I have to be selfish. At least a little bit when I'm doing free content, right? One, the earlier content gets out, the longer it has for people to view. Pretty simple. Also, number two, there are bigger, more important, and more popular shows at like 10 and 11. And the earlier I can get in and out before they start, the better it's going to be for me. So, just kind of what it is. And we're right up at the hour. We got to go. I'd be surprised to see Michael King, even with Keller for the Pirates. So, I kind of like the San Diego shit right on its face. I have San Diego for the win at the price. Next up. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Cole Reagans and the Royals are only minus 118 against Joey Cantillo, who I like, and the Guards. And this one is a little bit off me also. So just on its face, I mean, I guess I could see perhaps liking a 5-inning play here better than a full game here. Cleveland's bullpen's always pretty good. But Cleveland has the emoji, the bullpen emoji. So no. I want the full. I want to. Okay, give me KC at like a fair price with a nice pitcher. Next up, Shane Rohan, who I was pumping in the preseason as a dark horse fantasy sleeper, is getting a start much earlier than we thought. Don't know what the workload is like, and he had a tough go in AAA. Though I do like him. He's going up against Sonny Gray, who's been really good. The Red Sox offense has been rough. They have the emoji. I think I'm out. Model is trying to nudge me for the over, 07.5. But I'm feeling a little uneasy because a lot of my guys are going, like, Drohan's my guy. He goes out there and shoves. We kicking my own ass, yo. So I just think I'm leaving this one. Kyle Horse Bradish going for Baltimore minus 155 against Sean Burke and the White Sox. Wind blowing in, keep an eye on that. Baltimore has the bullpen emoji, eye on that. So maybe I'm a Baltimore F5er here and just kind of paying the fucking price. I think I like the run line. If I was playing, if you're pairing, take the money line so it doesn't sink you. If you're betting straight, I would bet covering a half run minus 110 over the money line minus 170, a little rich for me. Hold on, let me just mark that down. So I'm feeding Milwaukee, Boston, Baltimore. I want to cover the F5. I mean, I have almost a full run model separation F5. You know, I know I speak about that bet poorly. And I've called it greedy before. It's just a high pressure spot. You know, you're starting under the gun. You have to fucking score. It's high pressure. But again, sometimes a good team gets out and scores in the first, and you're like, oh, I'm the man. You know, so these things happen. Good teams are winning after 5 all the time. All the time. I'm old. Brian Wu is a minus 120 slight favorite against Mackenzie Gore in Texas. Man, I've got this one really modeled too close for comfort. I would have been saying like, ooh, maybe a U4 is interesting. Okay, here's another good reason to sign up for my bookie. I think DraftKings is a 3.5, and my bookie is a 4, and I think they're the same price. This number on ball seems a bit high. Mark says, yeah, totally agreed. But it also says, but who is going to take Chicago? I know they're just trying to entice you. And Burke has some upside, but we really haven't seen it with any type of consistency. So I don't know. And it's one of those things. It's one of these juiced baseball favorite things. They just keep juicing the fucking favorite, and people are going to keep taking it, so they're going to keep juicing it, and we end up in a fucking doom spiral. Okay, so Wu and Gore, again, I'd be maybe under this 4. So I was expecting to see 3.5s, but U4 minus 116 is probably my play. Seattle, Texas, F5, U4 at a fair price. And then last, but, oh no, that's it. That's it, because the next one was Ohtani and the Dodgers, which we did. Let's get the fuck out of here. Ed says, are the daytime picks going to be posted on the spreadsheet? Yes, every single day I'm going to do that right now. I had just forgotten. So if anybody is, interested in signing up in the routine, I know not everyone is looking to do mountains and mountains of research. And I've had some people just say, wow, I really dig the show picks, right? You talk through them. I tend to agree with them. I like it. So I put up a show pick column on the board when I get off. That's what I'm doing in real time. I'm actually saving myself a little bit of time. I'm marking it. I'm going to copy and paste the freaking thing in 5 seconds. So yeah, they're there all the time in case you missed the show or just want to cut to the end. Mark says thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Y'all appreciate everybody. So from all of us here at Corked Stats family, thank you for picking up what we're putting down. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the games. Did it backwards, but who gives a crap? When we're done with the book, just enjoy that pay. Just remember, man, when you work this freaking hard, not only do you screw up sometimes, but the winning feels a lot looks like luck, yo. Peace out. Please retweet this shit. Help me get this off the ground.